Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel. In this short video we're going to discuss events that took place during the previous 10 hours. And the most important updates are coming from Artyomovsk. The Russians are saying that as a result of storm operation, Wagner's managed to establish control over the entire area along the railroad ways, including the small salient. Furthermore, some Russian sources are saying that Wagner's managed to cross the railroad and to establish control over this industrial small zone on the western part of Bakhmut. So as you can see, the Russians have at least 3 bridgeheads on the western part of Bakhmut. Furthermore, the Russian sources are saying that as a result of rotation process, as a result exchange and optimization process, the territory in the vicinity of Sakha-Vantseti, Nikolaevka, Krasnopolye, the settlements that located on the north part of this bridgehead in the vicinity of Soledar, the Wagners in this area was completely replaced with the airborne forces, and now there are no more Wagnerians on the north in this area. When talking about the Wagners, currently their position is between Zaliznianska, not even in Zaliznianska, so we can say that the Wagner forces is located on the south from this road that connects Slaviansk and Artyomovsk on the south from this area in the forest. Then the Wagner still in Dubovo-Vasilievka, in Berkhovka, and around entire Artyomovsk, and then right to the Kurdyumovka. So starting from Kurdyumovka, maybe Klishevka, some other Russian airborne forces are located. So this is the reason why the Russians took a decision to do this. Of course, we remember the words of the head of Wagner, Prigozhin. He told that while they're concentrated in Bakhmut, they need to be sure that their flanks are secured. But the main thing is that due to the clashes during the previous months, of course, Wagner was damaged as well as the Ukrainians as well. So every single day they have losses. So that's why they took a decision to concentrate their main fist in the vicinity of the western part and to make a final strike. And to do this, they need all forces, all Wagner soldiers they have to complete the liberation of this town. So this was the reason why the Russians and Wagners took decision to optimize their quantity and the area where they have stretched their forces. Furthermore, a lot of interesting updates are coming from Russian territory of Russian Federation. This morning and yesterday in the evening, I got at least few confirmations that Wagner's, or maybe Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation, very difficult to determine who exactly, started recruiting prisoners again. There was a person who provided this information. He reported, given one example, saying that at least at one, for example, prison that he knows for sure was mobilized or not mobilized, was recruited for one day from one prison up to 400 soldiers. So it's in April, and as we see, the Russians started, possibly the Russians started another wave of mobilization among prisoners. So what does it mean? So when talking about the contracts that Wagner's provided, at least the contract was for 6 months, and according to experience we have, there was 2 months passed since the beginning of the trainings, and then 4 months the Wagner's used for this resource to complete the encirclement and the operation in Artyomov. So that means that the Russians are planning somewhere in the beginning of summer, somewhere in June, to start another clashes, another battle for some town, because they need stormtroopers for this. And the only town I understand that the Russians are going to do is Slaviansk and Kramatorsk. So as I understand, according to this just simple logic, the Russians are planning by June to start storming operation and liberation operation of Slaviansk and Kramatorsk. So for this purpose, they started another wave of mobilization among prisoners. Furthermore, the Western sources are saying and the Ukrainian sources are saying that they are ready for 90% to start counter-offensive operation in south of Ukraine. And the only thing that stopped them to do this is the weather, very bad weather, and the sources are saying that the Ukrainians are going to start this operation in May, because the next 2 weeks there are going to be a lot rain, and then they need another 2 or 3 weeks of sunny weather, and after that they will be able to start. So somewhere in the middle of May, the Ukrainians are planning to launch their counter-offensive operation. But this is not the most important piece of news. Another Western sources confirmed, who are tightly connected with intelligence and so on, they're saying that after that, this counter-offensive operation, the Ukrainians are going to announce total mobilization. I don't know what does it mean, total mobilization, but I believe that this is not just to mobilize 100,000 or 200,000 soldiers. I believe that if the Ukrainians are planning to start total mobilization, I believe they're going to mobilize up to 5 or 6 millions of soldiers. And I believe that this is the reason, this is the main purpose of the visit Zelensky with the president of Poland. He needed some kind of guarantees that the entire economy of this country will be supported by the Poland and the NATO countries, while most of the man popularity will be involved into the mobilization process. As we know, the Russians have completed the adoption of their new system, electronic mobilization. So I believe that at almost the same period of time, the Russians will launch their own mobilization, because they understand that if the Ukrainians are going to raise their army up to 5 millions, they need to have at least the same number of forces on the ground as well. Now let's talk about some updates on the ground. The Russians published a video of bombing and shelling of Kherson area. As a result of that attack, ammo depot was destroyed. The Russians are saying that Ukrainians started a very interesting operation of demining process. They can't demine these fields using tanks or special equipment, so that this is the reason they're sending drones, and these drones are dropping some bombs, trying to demine the fields between Gulay Polya, between the town and the Russian position. So very interesting method of demining. And that's it for this short video. Military Summary channel reminds to condemn any violence in Ukraine. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye.